Alright, hey guys, this is my, what, sixth? Sixth video podcast? Or, sixth podcast. This is the third video. I know it hasn't been a while. I've been a little busy, with APs and what have you, but, I have finished my Arduino project. I went from this guy, who is my Arduino Uno, and I bought, parts. There's my buttons and voltage regulators and 2.1mm jacks and capacitors and more capacitors and resonators. Bought all those parts. I bought the circuit board. Is back there. I don't feel like really getting up and getting it, but it's back there. And I etched and soldered and drilled and programmed and bootloaded and all that good stuff. And let me plug it in and get some power going here. But look, it works. Look at that. So this little yellow LED down here on this side is the power LED, so that will illuminate every time that there's power, which right now is just a battery backpack. It's a 9-volt. Up here is my what's it called? Pin 13 LED. And right now I have the Arduino set as a sketch to just blink the LED on and off. It's just that if you've ever programmed with Arduino before, it's like the hello world of Arduino. But that's it. And the cool thing is, I did it myself. It's not that impressive because you can go online, you can buy one for $30 with a USB encoder, but this thing cost me like, when I bought 3 of them, it only cost me like $30. So, it only cost me $10, which is very nice. But over here, let me just tell you what's on the board. There's, over here we've got a barrel connector. That's where the, battery pack plugs in. As you come power in, it goes to these, decoupling capacitors, which like levels out the noise in the line, just in case there's, any crazy spikes or anything. It doesn't hurt the microcontroller. And then it goes into the voltage regulator, which steps down the voltage to 5 volts, which is what the Arduino runs at. And then coming back up, it goes to a couple places. It goes to this LED, which then illuminates with this resistor. It illuminates to at a 5-volt signal, so that it's on. And it also goes to the Arduino, right? And then over here we got all the header pins. Let's see, these guys are going to be digitals and power. This one's here. These are more digital. The RX and TX are over here. And then over here is the analog, and then more power stuff. And there's a reset up there too. This button here is a reset button. I ran out of room on the bottom, so I had to do some over the board stuff. That's for 2-layer boards. I have a FTDI programming port there. This header right here is you put a jumper there, and it'll take FTDI power instead of barrel connector. I've got my ceramic resonator, the little pico capacitors for keeping the resonator in check. And then I've got my big, nice Arduino microcontroller, ATmega328. And that's it. On the back side, not as pretty, but that's it. All the copper you see there, let me get this in there. All the copper you see was originally, actually this board that you're seeing was originally it was this piece of clad board plus it had a layer of copper on it. What I did is, in my last video I showed you that I ironed on the heat transfer, and then I etched it. And right now I drilled all the holes. As you can see, some of them are a little too big, but I drilled all the holes and I soldered all the components in, and now I wiped off all the leftover ink, and it just looks good. And it works great. It's 100% compatible. It's like the same thing as this guy, except this guy has his USB chip right here and USB port. But that's no big deal, because if I want to program this guy with my computer, I don't have to buy a $20 FTDI thing or whatever online. I just, let's see if you can, Nope, that's not gonna work. Anyway, let me do this real quick. You just connect the RX and TX lines, a couple little jumpers. 1, 2. Right? So it looks like this. And then I just have to remove this microcontroller so that the computer, instead of transferring to this guy, it transfers directly to this guy, right? So this is just all the USB port on this guy is just a USB to serial converter, and then in the mix it has the microcontroller. So if you bypass the microcontroller, you can program this one directly. Ingenious, right? Programming the bootloader was a little difficult because I read somewhere online that you couldn't use an Arduino Uno to program, or as an ISP controller to program these boards, but it worked fine. I didn't have any issues. My first issue was that I forgot to I was connecting the reset to reset, so it wasn't like resetting the right one, so it wasn't working properly, but after that I fixed it. So yeah, the reason I went with this design rather than design my own board was this. This is the beauty right here. This is the Adafruit Proto Shield, and it goes right in my Arduino like this, and I can put stuff on the breadboard and use all the pins on the side, and it'll work exactly like an Arduino, and I don't have to have a really messy two-piece breadboard system. And if you look really carefully, I can put this together like that, and look, the Proto Shield works on my Arduino too. Look at that. Beautiful. So, what am I going to do now? Well, it is, what's today? Tuesday, May 10th. I graduate on June 12th. I'm done with school on June 3rd, so I have only a couple weeks left. 3 weeks maybe. So it's not a very long time. But what I did, when I bought all my pieces for these Arduinos, see, here's my other two ATmega 328s. That's something I'll do over the summer. We'll see what happens. But I bought this guy too. This is a Max, I think 485, and it's just a little serial converter. But what you can use it for is you can take it and use DMX signals, like lighting equipment, and you can interface that with an Arduino. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and build an AirNet converter, or ArtNet, sorry, ArtNet. And what it'll do is it'll take DMX in, which is coming from a light or a strobe or a fogger or whatever, anything that runs DMX really, and then it'll plug into the Arduino with the USB thing, because I need a USB to serial converter, and transmit the data over USB to the computer. And then on the computer it'll run a piece of software that comes bundled with some light controller program that's free and open source, and it converts it to ArtNet. And the cool thing that I can do with ArtNet is I have a program on my iPhone called Luminaire, where I can change DMX values via my iPhone, and it has a really nice color mixing feature. So if I use it with like an LED strobe or something, I can make some really cool colors. And it's just easy, and I can do it wirelessly. So that's what I'm going to work on next. I'm probably just going to make it breadboardable. If it's really nice and really helpful, I might etch a little tiny circuit board that I have left over, from one of my screw-ups. But as of right now, it's just going to be breadboard. I'll make another video posting about that. I have to find an XLR connector. I might just chop the end off of an XLR. I just need a female. But it's going to be cool. I'll test it with a couple strobes. Got a couple classes left. It's a 9-minute and 14-second video, but that's okay, as long as it's less than 10 minutes. Alright, so see ya.